Hey, hey, thank you for joining us on this special episode of the Power Hour. DJ Larry and I, Tiffany Lee Gaston here, will discuss the science of happiness. Is there a science behind happiness? Larry, what say you?
You know what? Now, when it comes to happiness, are we talking about what, as far as things that make you happy, people that make you happy?
Finding,
Um,
achieving, and maintaining a state of joy within your being. What does that look like for you? Because life will happen, as we know.
Life happens, and when it happens, it happens. So for me, I would think for me, happiness, I would say peace of mind. For me, I don't see it as, oh, if I have a Lamborghini, Ferrari, and money and all this stuff, that would make me happy. Because you have people who have those stuff and no happiness and end up committing suicide or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Because there's so money and things does not equate to happiness.
So your joy is not deeply connected to material items, is what you're saying.
No,
I
no.
really
It's more inner, more inner.
I like that because, things come and go. And at the end of the day, it's that feeling that we're left with inside of us that we are enough, that we contributed. How did we show up? What does that look like? Do we chase our passions? Yeah, let's talk about that some more.
Yeah.
So,
The
so
art of happiness. I believe it's a state. You got to have a purpose. Number one. Definitely have to have a purpose. When you find that purpose and what makes you happy, and you pursue that, then I think you're on your way. What do you think?
I agree with you. I had a business coach once, but I do a lot of personal development. And I will say that something that really stuck with me is you said you've got to chase your why, much like you say, what are you passionate about in this life? Because if you're not doing it in some form, if you're not inspiring others to chase that, if you're not teaching them, if you're not living through that vessel of passion, you're not satiating what would truly bring you joy. So when we can tie that into what we do monetarily, I think that is just so powerful. Um, but like you say, material goes away. So the things that we do on a daily basis that help us achieve happiness, help us ride the waves, much like I had to do yesterday in losing my best friend of 12 years, my sweet Phoenix Gaston, my English
Yeah,
Labrador. We ride the wave. And I think it's not always easy to stay happy. Do people think you're in a constant state of positivity? Or do you allow your emotions to be a little bit more on your sleeve, do you think?
I think you allow your emotions to be, because you don't want to walk around with some painted on smile, and inside you're just coming apart like a cheap suit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
How can someone else support you if you're struggling, if you don't share your truth? That's absolutely so real when we get vulnerable. And then I think it gives permission for others to share parts of themselves that they would otherwise keep hidden. Makes
Yeah,
us feel more simpatico. We're more
yeah,
connected. I think we all want that. Um, it's really hard to choose happiness when you're dealing with mental health. And I think we should speak to that a little bit.
yes,
Because as much as I am a proponent of positive uh, output and, negative things will happen, we've got to ride the wave throughout the day. What we do in these moments of sorrow and sadness. And the greatest takeaway I think I can give people today is you've got to feel it to heal it. We can't stuff it down. We can't drink it away.
all right,
We can't numb it out. When we do that, those emotions and that energy gets stuck in our body, and that causes dis-ease, disease.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's
That's where the
basically,
breakdown comes from.
yeah.
So do you cry? Do you emote? Do you punch
You
pillows, scream,
definitely have
good, bad,
to.
and all of the emotions? Do you get it out?
You have to. You
Yes, you
have
do.
to. You can't allow that to build up inside of you. You know what I mean? It's like, that saying, pressure busts a pipe. It will destroy you. It will destroy you
I
if
have
you bottle that in there.
multiple bulging discs in my back,
Oh,
Larry.
tell me about it. I have four. How many do you have?
I had three bulging discs. Actually, one is ruptured at
Mm,
L5F1, and I identified that a few years ago. That led me on a path to find happiness what it
Yeah.
means to me, how to achieve and hold it steady. So what I identified with that is for a long time, I tried to be a real badass and teach everybody to think that I was strong. And that probably wounded walking warrior that I was, that I taught everybody I was harboring so much pain. And
Yeah.
it was a near impossibility to be happy because I wasn't feeling all my other emotions. So I think
Right.
with the good, you've got to take the bad as well. And I don't think you need to live there long, but I think you need to get it out. You need to feel it. You don't need to hold it in your system
Now, let me
because
ask you this: Who
you're
do you
back.
trust? Who do you trust when you go to someone and, opening up to them? Should it be a therapist, a close friend? Um,
All of it.
Me personally, I don't trust anyone to tell my
Well,
personal business.
well, I would like to encourage you a little differently.
Well,
If you
now
have,
that I have you, we can.
well, I was just going to say, if you don't have someone, you for sure have me. Please
Right.
know that. And also, I backed myself in the corner similarly. I felt like I'm this tough girl and I've got it together and I coach other people in this capacity. I'm a real fraud if I don't have it together. And I think until we really share what we're going through, um, that's my humanism. Like, I think so many people needed to see me crash and burn like that. And I think if you don't have a place to put it, some of us back ourselves in a corner with it trying to be strong, and we need community. We especially need community here. So I just want to go back and rewind just for a moment, because when I say happiness is a choice, and I've written a book in which I have a chapter entitled Happiness is a Choice, I had to step back and actually question if I believed that anymore. I do, but not when you're battling a mental illness or a
Right.
mental health or a cognitive challenge. It is not a choice. When I was struggling with my stacked trauma and PTSD that I was trying to get out from under, happiness was not a choice. I couldn't do the things on a daily basis, like my non negotiables, to break through and get to that place and hold.
Right.
So that is when you do need to ask for help. You need a close friend, a family member, someone in a community that you are struggling within, whether it's a sober space or whatever mental health, or you need a professional. A therapist will not judge you and is the very safest place to put it if you can identify someone like that in your community. So I definitely have become such a poster child for mental health. And I may not look like, walk like, talk like what that is in other people's minds. And that is precisely why I wave this flag,
Right.
because
Right.
we all need to recognize that we all need someone else. We can't be it for ourselves.
Absolutely.
When we get that low, I really struggle to get out of there. And if you're
Yeah.
battling suicidal ideations, you are in no position to be trying to pull yourself out. You need to
You
ask for
can't.
help, and you
You
need to
can't.
be honest about that.
Yeah. You can't pull yourself out when you're in that darkness. It's you can't do it alone. Definitely cannot
Sick.
do it alone. You gotta
Yeah.
ask for help.
And we lose sight of that why. I think, if we don't go back and revisit that periodically, like, here's the thing, not to be so doom and gloom, because yesterday was a rough day, but today is going to be a beautiful day, because if we look at all of the doom and gloom, we are preparing ourselves for more of the same. If we want to shift our perspective, we need to put ourselves in a state of joy, and we can trick the brain to think that it is truly happening. So listen to a piece of music that you love. Go spend time around your little niece or nephew that makes you laugh and play and run around and remind you of your childlike ways. Like, play has been such a major catalyst in getting back to myself, because we lose and we get disconnected from self with all of this that's going on around us. So making sure that you check in and saying, Larry, am I good? And starting every day, whether it's writing your gratitude journal, saying a prayer, doing a meditation, like, I do not start the day without some of these non-negotiables. Much like you
Yeah.
take a shower, brush your teeth, these are staples to set yourself up for success.
Right. Definitely positive affirmations.
Yes.
Find your focus. Once you find your focus, and hone in on that, you'll be just fine. But you are going to need help if you get too deep and it goes
Yeah.
too dark for you. Definitely, you can't
And
do
if
it alone.
people, yeah, and if people need resources, I hope they'll reach out. I know a lot of people don't want to outwardly speak about this, and that's why I think I'm not shy about it. When I decided to make my messy mess my message, I give it away freely because there's a lot of people that are in the dark with a lot of these things, and they need our voice, you
I
know?
wonder why that is. I wonder why people won't speak up about what they're going through. What is it? Shame, embarrassment? Because there's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. Because people,
Guilt and shame, my friend, are the
yeah,
two lowest vibrating frequencies. And I know when I carried that with me for so long, I couldn't come out from under the shadow of darkness to do the work and get myself back into the light. So, yes, we make mistakes, and yes, we get back up, and we are not tied to those mistakes. I am not tied to things that I did as a 20-something-year-old version of myself. I've made mistakes last week, but it's how we walk forward and choose to do things differently and not continue to hold on to that guilt and shame. I think that can catapult us into such a greater place.
mm,
Um, Sharing the message, giving it away freely, checking in with the strongest of our friends among us, because it's the ones that don't speak up that might be battling the most. It wasn't me going to raise my hand and say, I am not feeling okay, because I remember saying that to my ex-husband. And I said, this is like depression, but it's not, but it is, but I don't understand it. And then not long after, I was diagnosed with PTSD.
mm,
And I kept drinking to wash it away.
yeah,
And I had to feel so much of that rupture in order to work through it. So I
yeah,
encourage people to not hide in the dark. And if you
right,
don't have someone, make a stranger like me that someone, because it is on my heart to lead from a place of service in this realm now to the so many that are silently struggling. And, you and I have both had a history of different
yeah.
traumas, and we grow through what we go through. And I want people to see another way now.
Yeah.
We
And
don't
if you
have
keep
to.
going through, if you go through it, and you'll come out on the other side a winner.
You can.
You
You
can.
absolutely can. This is not the outcome for everybody, but I think, you've got to write it down too. How many people write down their goals? Goal setting is huge, because when you set even a small measurable goal for yourself, this is what I teach my clients. And if you haven't read the book Atomic Habits, let's please start there. It's as simple as beginning to make your bed every morning. And then you start to string little tiny things like that together, and you watch your world change. It's like ripples make waves, baby.
Right.
The littlest of things, like last week or the week before, you weren't on fire. You weren't going to go in the gym and lift every weight and show them what's good. But when you started to feel better and you got back in there, you started to put some steps back on the calendar. Like
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going to lay down some miles today. I'm going to feel
Yeah.
good. I'm going to do some more tomorrow. Like, we build upon little things like that. And how tremendous that is in our mind, it goes so far.
Goes far.
It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to do it all in a day.
Right. And for people, right, for people watching, just remember that happiness is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey,
And we're meant to enjoy the ride,
and
just
we're meant to enjoy the ride.
not
Exactly
white
right.
knuckle it the whole way, baby. Because guess what? When we're sitting here like this, that was my life for so long. I caused a rupture in my spine. I now understand. We don't just manifest disease, illness, whatever. Very few things that live in the human body are actually, that we pick up that way. A lot of it is manifested within our environment, our circumstances, our lifestyle, our food choices, the way we process and store trauma. If we show up for all of our friends and put our needs on the back burner, I'm sorry to tell you, we program ourselves for cancer that way. There's a
Seriously.
lot of things that we do. You think you're a people pleaser, and that's a great thing. Being a people pleaser is a selfish act. I have learned recently
Yeah.
in all of the things and all
Yeah.
of the therapy. We're still meeting a need of our own. And it's like, man, the psychology behind all the stuff we do, Larry, it's crazy.
Yeah. Seriously. So let's give some quick tips on on happiness. Right. I got tip number one. You got to prioritize self-care, make time for yourself, and engage in activities that bring you joy.
Absolutely. Movement, exercise, endorphins, dopamine,
Right.
bring it.
Yeah.
Journaling, meditation, prayer,
Prayer. Oh yeah.
whatever it is.
I
Play.
have that tattooed on my arm. Prayer works. That's what it says. So
You know what that means to me? My version of that would be I don't have it on my body yet, but surrender. Everything for me happened in the surrender, letting the F go. Don't
yeah.
white knuckle grip everything, because you can't. It is where we get lost in controlling the outcome, and learning to walk in a state of joy. When we program our
Yeah.
mind for gratitude, even before we go to bed and the first thing when we wake up. Today, I'm so grateful. I had a beautiful conversation this morning with Larry. We brought joy and goodness to the world. We showcased some of our own personal vulnerabilities for others. Perhaps somebody's takeaway is, I'm going to seek some help. I'm in a deep, dark place. Like, these are all ways we give back and give joy, and that joy gives back to us.
Yeah.
Do you ever pay a compliment out of random just to a stranger and catch them completely off guard and just watch their face shift?
Yeah.
That's like the highlight of my day.
Yeah. I was talking to someone earlier, and we were talking about it's so easy. It's so easy to feel negative emotions, but for some reason it feels difficult to harness positive emotions. Why does negativity outweigh positivity?
The
In
vibration
some cases,
is
your
lower.
vibration.
It feels different, doesn't it?
It
Just like
does.
when you are in a room of toxic people and you leave that room, if you are not good about cleansing yourself from just the day to day, and you wear that, it is hard, especially as an empath. The
Yeah.
rooms I walk through, it is so hard to just not wear everything, in the air that I come in contact with. Um, it is a heavy lift a lot of days. But when you can play the gatekeeper with this catcher's mitt of your mind in such a way where, more than not, even because they will come, negative thoughts will come. We're
Oh yeah.
human. We make mistakes. Things happen. Or we hear something and it comes through, but you can catch it and choose to shift it and send it back out. It's like giving it a blessing and shape shifting it back,
Yeah.
sending it back out, because thoughts become things. I walk among some beautiful humans that remind me daily. I'll even say, kick me in the shin. I like the reminders. I like to be around people that say, oh, don't say this, say that. So a new
Yeah.
shift I have isn't good morning, it's happy rising. Someone close to me brought that to me recently, and I thought, the human, or the English language, and the ways in which humans speak, is mindless, and mourning is what we do when we're grieving the loss of.
Yes.
Happy rising sounds lighter, doesn't it?
Yep.
Happy birthday, like, I want to light a candle, I don't want to blow it out. A lot of things are, in some ways, casting spells, if you will.
That's exactly right.
you
That's
know
exactly right. We have to choose our words wisely.
what if we put a little more intention behind them? I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
What frequency do we give out, so then we are vibrating higher, we feel better, and those around us benefit from it as well. So
And this
rub
is
some of that
serious.
goodness off today, my friends.
That's serious. I want to go with one more tip from me. You know, gratitude. Take a few moments each day to reflect on the things you are thankful for.
Gratitude is the absolute highest, and yes, and we can bring ourselves to a joy of gratitude from listening to a piece of music, reading something, looking at a photo of a loved one. There's so many ways to do it, and I want to just share, if we have a minute, real quick,
Yeah.
something really cool that I learned to do through meditation and the practices of Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I did attend a 7-day retreat during the pandemic, and that was like around the time frame that my back was really, really bad, and it was suggested to have surgery. I did not want to do that, and it was before I took advantage of stem cells. So I was
Mm.
doing lots of meditation, in fact, hours a day, utilizing this as the vehicle to heal my spine and my autonomic nervous system. So in any case, I forgot my whole point to this, but the meditation. When you raise the frequency and you have this thought to get yourself in a state of joy, and you can open your heart, if you know how to open your heart. It's hard to describe, but it's like the actual blood vessels open in your heart. If you can blow your heart wide open in meditation, this might be foreign to some people, but I can do this at the airport, before I walk through the scanning machine with TSA, where you put your hands up.
Yeah.
So I know how real this is because I heard Dr. Joe say that he does it. So right before I walk through, and there's a lot of commotion and security because we're taking all of our things off and putting them on the belt. But if I have an AirPod in, I will put on a song that just really brings me to a special place and opens my heart. And then when it's go time, I can walk through the unit. I've shown people that travel with me and raise my hands. And when I come out, they're always like, "Excuse me, miss, we need to pat you down," because there's this big yellow medallion in the center of my chest. And they think there's something under my shirt.
Right.
And it is the energy that is the heart opening up wide, and it is the most powerful thing that I've ever been able to do. If I could do that as a party trick, what else can we do with this magic? So
wow, that's interesting. We got to talk more about that. Definitely have to talk more about
gratitude.
That.
No, but it's our energy. So think about that for a minute. The visualization of gratitude on the scanner at the airport. If you can call upon that at any moment, and friends, I want to let you all know that you can do this too. We're so lost out here in this 3D world, traffic and running late, and I forgot my this and my that. Slow it all down. I need you to be the gatekeeper of your thoughts. From that perspective, and only from there can you catch them all. And the bad ones will come. But it's the intention behind shifting it immediately and replacing it with something positive.
There you go. There you go. All right, I want to leave you guys with, happiness is definitely contagious. So be mindful of who you surround yourself with. All right. That's all I have.
Frequency today.
Yes. Lock in next week and find out what we'll be talking about right here on Soul TV. I'm DJ Larry Jones, along with the lovely and beautiful Tiffany Lee Gaston.
I really don't feel legit, Larry, because I don't have a legit mic. We're going to have to do something about this.
You're watching Soul TV.
This is a difference. Well, listen, it's been a long trip and I'm finally here. Listen, Soul TV and Meshiba Web are going to Las Vegas, Nevada, July 20th for the 39th annual Stellar Awards. That's right, Soul TV and Meshiba Web are going to be on the red carpet interviewing all who's who. Oh my God, I cannot wait. All right, for more information, go to thestellarawards.com. And don't forget to go to soultv.page. And don't forget to download Soul TV Live on all your Roku devices. And don't forget to go to Ticketmaster and get them tickets. Not now, but right now. See you there. All copyrights strictly owned by Soul TV and its affiliates.
To the money, not from it.
Do you like face because
it's just
I'm your host, Anthony B. Williams.
For being Duncan and the way you
means to you being here.
What's about the upcoming season of Power?
Sometimes you watch a show and people
I used to black fried cornbread.
Hello, 30 years old.
Join us right here, Soul TV.
Watching the Power Hour. I'm your host, DJ Larry Jones.